Hey guys, welcome back. We're getting the car ready to go to Star next weekend. We've already stripped it all down, bathed it, washed it. Obviously, anybody who's seen the video from Thompson, we had power steering issues all day. Didn't really even get a chance to look at the setup on the car to try to do it. Came home with a top 10, but that was only because of attrition. You know, all the cars behind me dropped out, and then we eventually dropped out. Motor was skipping. I'm pretty sure found the issue with that was the nozzles. On here we have all the new nozzle lines and everything. The nozzles wouldn't spray through clean when I was cleaning them, but they looked clean and it would run fine at idle and at low speeds, but then at high speed it just was breaking down. I soaked the nozzles in seafoam, and when I cleaned them after that, I soaked them for a couple days and they sprayed through really nice, that you could see the stream coming through. So I'm pretty sure we're good there. So power steering, thank you to Randy Cabral for loaning us the power steering hose to be able to run the feature, and Richie Coy loaned us one. So when I bought these lines, I had emailed the guy and said, hey, are these can these be used in power steering? He said, yeah. So I ordered the lines and the fittings. The running joke is yeah, these lines are good enough for power steering, but these fittings aren't. So we blew the fitting out, even though I ordered the fittings from him. He never said, yeah, those fittings aren't good for power steering. What I did was I went down to Parker Supply, and now instead of 1200 PSI hose, we now have 3000 PSI hose, so this problem will never happen again. So I'm going to put these new power steering lines in today and reprime the power steering, and that issue will be over. Then we're going to check the drive shaft because it was vibrating. Randy Cabral said his car was too, and it could be the rubber buildup that from on the tires. You can see that the tire has quite a bit of rubber buildup, which could have been the vibration. But since we've had so much problems with the torque tube and everything, it still spun free at the end of the race, but it was hot. I just want to check everything and make sure it's good. So that's today's project: power steering, check the torque tube, and get the thing all back together so that I can scale it and set it up during the week.
How's it going over here in garage?
Shut the. It's going good. Just trying to get all the. We had put the fuel cell back in after cleaning it up, so we could fire the motor and all that good stuff. So now I pulled out the fuel cell. The rear end is out. I'm doing one final paint back here, so I can put the fuel cell back in permanently. I can put the rear end back in and get all that rear suspension and stuff back together, and start working my way up the car. I already painted the inside so I can get the seat in and stuff. Once I get back here painted, then we can get the seat in, the belts can go in, and yeah, I mean, we're just about ready to start putting it back together. So just got to keep chipping away at it. It's kind of tedious, but it'll be worth it. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
All right, guys, so here we are. Torque tube, obviously this is all the new stuff that we put in over the winter to solve the problem. This needs to spin free, and it does spin. I just need to make sure that the front of this torque ball isn't hitting the drive shaft or anything. We've checked that at length when we put it in to make sure that nothing was getting contact. The torque tube was hot when I came in, even though it spun freely. I just want to make sure nothing's hitting in there, and if it's hitting, we'll take care of it.
There goes the paint, Papa Smurf.
It's going. We're pretty close to having to be done for today, just because, like, gonna have to wait for it to dry, and then some of it might need touch up, but for the most part, I think it'll be all right. And yeah, I mean, just trying to get like a nice thick coat all the way around, and then we'll see what it looks like after that.
So right now I'm just going through everything, trying to figure out where we're at. I think we'll take the drive shaft in and see if it's bent. We're still hitting here. Which I don't know if it's walking around, if what it's doing. I don't know if that was from the original, but regardless, we're getting metal flakes and stuff, and the torque tube is still hitting. Almost feels like there's a little play in the U-joint.
Well, I think we found the problem. You can see on the yoke that goes to the bell housing side, it's cracked, but the camera doesn't want to focus, so I'll snap a few pictures and zoom in so we can see that, you know, in video. So what's this? What's this mean for the race car here?
Well, I'm gonna have to get this all apart, so I'm probably gonna have to take a Dremel to wherever it was fixed before. Somebody welded this before. Take a Dremel to be able to get the cap out, and we'll go from there.
Trying to get it so the cap can slip out.
Yeah, so I can get the clap out. The clap. We're gonna get the clap out of this thing.
Jesus Christ, I hope it doesn't have that.
Well, obviously it's got something severe.
I mean, just to be the optimist, if it is the clap, at least it clears up with antibiotics pretty easy.
Yep.
Or you take a Dremel and cut out the infected area.
So the cracks that were there have been welded because the weld is still in the groove for the snap rings, which is why that one snap ring wasn't fitting good, but the caps just have too much play in here. So we'll try to figure this whole thing out. In the meantime, I also want to, obviously I'll get a new U-joint, but I want to check the OD on this. They have a turn down one, and I want to make sure that this is the turn down one size wise to fit inside the torque tube. So obviously this is killing us. So the Gremlin that started last summer, obviously we never fixed. We band-aided and band-aided, and now it's here. So got it all apart now. We'll get these things fixed, and I'll probably replace the bearing on the front of where this slides into too.
On the bell housing.
Yeah. So now I'll get this one apart. Well, the problem is that we found a problem. So we continually have issues with the torque tube. This is our third torque tube. For some reason it keeps hitting on the inside, and we found that with the U-joint. So I need to figure out where I'm going to get the parts, what's available. U-joint's easy, a parts store will have that, but that one piece is custom made to these, so I'll have to reach out to a couple other NEMA guys and see who's got what or where we can get it done. or we'll have to figure out how to make one. Looks like you can still read the Spicer number on it, so I don't know if those parts are available and if we'd have to machine it out. So we'll find out.
But today I took a half day. It's the Friday before the race at Star, and I'm down at the house basically taking care of some stuff, waiting for my dad to get home. The one thing I can do, just because he'll have a majority of the stuff that we need, is I need to basically set up a little cleaning station and clean these panels. So what happened is he tried, you know, spraying them off with the hose and whatnot, but you know, they need a scrub and maybe a little bit better of a degreaser. You guys, what I'm doing, just because I forgot the tripod, so I can't set my camera up on time lapse here. Basically, got the citrus degreaser, spray the panels, let it sit, then wipe off in the bucket. So yeah, that's the rocket science behind what I'm doing. So I'm gonna get back to it, finish these last 4. Those other panels are Mitchell's for the Dwarf Car. Don't need to get done for the midget here.
All right, guys, so we're back in business. As you remember, there were cracks in this piece here, which is what goes into the clutch in the back of the motor. This piece had been repaired previously, and it looked like it was starting to crack again. We had play in the U-joint. Bobby Seymour Performance Products had a used one in good shape. Obviously, you can see the difference that this one has not been repaired. Ryan and I put the U-joint in, but we still didn't like how it was going. My thought is that as we were engaging the clutch, this was pulling back and basically staying back and not being able to push forward. So basically the axle goes in here. Hello, no. Yes, I was right. So the axle goes in here like this, and there's a spring in here which helps keep it pushed out. So it's going to keep the axle back and this out, and it will allow for bounce in the chassis as the chassis goes up and down, and the spring will keep it. So our spring that was in there is a very large spring, which had to be forced in there, and it's really soft. And you'll see in the video, if we can get that part of it, that this was pushed. I think the clutch was pushing this back, and it was basically staying back and allowing play in the whole setup, and that's what was eating our torque tubes. So the new spring is a lot stiffer. It's smaller OD, so that it slides in there and it's free, so there's no way it's going to bind up. We can get this all together here as quick as we can, and we'll be racing tomorrow at the Star Speedway. Oh, one other thing I want to show you. When it comes back, basically it starts moving around, and it hits the coupler there, will hit on the torque tube, and you can see everything's gotten really hot in the past. So I didn't trust this axle, so we grabbed another axle, put another axle in, got to lube everything up real good, and hopefully everything's nice and free, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so we're getting ready to head to the track. Car's all ready to go, just put the final panels on it. Some came over here and knocked the bolt bin over, so I'm picking it up for him. So we're gonna give them hell. A lot of problems this week. The scales, one of the pads weren't working, so we had to do it old-fashioned and add up the weights and get everything set to go. But we're ready to go, and we'll see you at the track. So if you like the video, well, you do like the video, so just click like so everybody knows that you liked it. Subscribe to the Hometrack channel, and we'll see you next time.